Welcome back. Welcome back. Today, you're watching the podcast, The Life in the Mirror. And I want to thank you for taking your busy time to watch this video. Today's topic is going to be about do not dwell in the past. Do not dwell in the past. And when you think about the past, it's going by in time and no longer existing. So it's something that happened in the past is no longer existing, but in your mind, it still is running. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, and especially if it's a bad thing or it's something that you regret that happened that you made a mistake on or something happened, somebody done something to you. It runs in your mind over and over, and it's something that just plays in your mind. But even though it doesn't no longer exist, but in your mind, it's just running and running and over and over again. It just keep playing just like it happened yesterday. Now let me read this quote to you. Holding on is believing that there is a past, but letting go is knowing that there's a future. That is for Daphne Rose Kigman. I like that part when they say holding on is believing there is a past, but letting go is knowing that there's a future. Especially when you let go of that past. Sometimes it's hard to let go of the past, especially if something you regret. It's hard to let go, but when you finally let go, that is a future for the road ahead, a road ahead. It's a future. It's something you like, man, I finally got this ball and chain off of me, and it's no longer holding me down. I can see my future. And even though you can see your future, and sometimes it might be hard, when you go to your future, sometimes you might have to go through some obstacles. But when you look at it, you say, but I'm no longer a slave to what was holding me down in my past. Now, let me read this other quote. It's let go of the past, but keep the lesson it taught you. That is from Clara Gizzo. I like that part when they say let go of the past. When they say let go of the past, but keep the lesson it taught you. Now, I know everybody heard this saying sometimes life experience can teach you a lesson, especially if you made a mistake, you made a wrong decision. Uh, but once you let that go, you know what I'm saying? Once you let it go, but it has taught you, like, hey, I can no longer do this situation. I know better now. I'm much older and I'm wiser. Even though what I went through, I know this decision can cause this reaction. So it's once you let go, but once they teach you a lesson, now it's time to move on from the future. Even though it's something bad, you still can have a good life and move on for the future. Isaiah 43, chapter 43, verse 18 says this: forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. I like that scripture. It say, forget the former things and do not dwell on the past. Yeah, especially, something happened. It can be, like I said, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. But if it's something that you regret, a mistake that you made, or something that happened to you, it's like I said, it's easy said and done. I'm human. Uh, Everybody here who listen to this can relate to this. Something you can look back and that's holding you back, holding you down, just keeping that weight on you and keeping you from moving forward to that future. And like I said, you have to let it go. And once you let it go, then you're able to move on. Now, let me give you some tips of what you have to do to move from your past. You have to practice forgiveness. You have to, when they say practice forgiveness, so sometimes every day you're gonna have to wake up and you're gonna have to forgive. If it's something you done, a mistake you made, a bad decision, you're gonna have to wake up. You're gonna have to forgive yourself. And if it's something somebody done to you, even if you got to wake up daily, you're gonna have to forgive that person what you done to you. Because if you hold on to that past, it's gonna be hard to move forward. Accept your mistakes. Now that's the hardest thing to do. is to accept your mistakes. So, so like if you made a bad decision, so basically you're gonna have to come to terms with yourself and say, you know what, I'm gonna have to accept the role I played in this situation. I'm gonna have to accept the decision that I made. So it's you're gonna have to swallow that bullet called pride and accept it. And so with that, uh, accepting your mistakes, that's a part of growing. That's a part of saying, you know what, I'm no longer going to let this past hold me down because I finally accept this situation. Not focus on the present. So basically, focus on the present being, especially for me, something that I made a bad decision or something that happened to me. Uh, the easiest thing as a human is to keep focus on the past. But if you keep focus on the past, it's hard to focus on the present. If you keep focusing on the past, it's hard to focus on the present. So when you focus on the present, that means you are looking forward. You know, no longer looking backwards. Just like in the Bible, when Israel, when they finally left Egypt, when Moses, brought them out of Egypt, and every time something happened, they always brought up, our life was better in Egypt, but they was a slave in Egypt. They was mistreated in Egypt, but they always kept looking back. So why did you bring us out here and now we got nothing to eat. At least we had something to eat in Egypt. So with this, if you're gonna look present, if you're gonna look to your future, you can't keep dwelling on the past. If you keep dwelling on the past, you have no future. So you have to keep looking focused on your present. That means even when doubt started coming to your mind, when the voices start coming to your mind, say, no, I'm no longer going to listen to you. I'm going to keep my eyes on the ball. I'm going to keep looking forward. Practicing self-care. You have to take care of yourself. Sometimes, make a bad decision that can cause health problems. You have to take care of yourself. You have to eat right. You got to sleep right. You have to be a disciplined person. Taking care of yourself. That is very important. Avoid triggers. Say, for example, a good example, say if you have an alcohol problem, you have alcohol problem. The worst thing you want to do is go to a bar, hang out with some friends and go to a bar and you have an alcohol problem. So you want to avoid triggers. If it's a certain person, they trigger you, you want to avoid them. If a certain place, you want to avoid that place, especially if it brings you back to the past. You want to avoid that. Practicing positive self-talk. They say it takes about, I think, 30 days, 29 days to cause a habit to keep going. When they say positive self-talk, when they say practicing positive self-talk, you might have to put poster stickers on the wall telling you how good you are, not to be ashamed of what happened to you, not let the past hold you down. When I'm talking about when those voices start to creep in your head and they start telling you, you need to be ashamed of what happened to you. When those walls start craving on to you, coming down on down, you need to tell yourself, I'm no longer going to pay attention to that. I am going to move forward. Even when it's hard and self-doubt and all that stuff start creeping back in, and fear and anger, you need to say, no, stop it. I'm stopping this. I'm not letting you come into my mind. I'm gonna keep moving forward. And the last one, take a break from social media. Now, with social media, there's a lot of stuff on social media, especially if you struggle with something. That something can creep up on social media and boom, there it is. If you have to put down Instagram, whatever it is, Facebook or whatever, uh, or Twitter, aka X, whatever what it is, if it's affecting you, and it's one of those triggers that's affecting you, you're gonna have to avoid that. You're gonna have to say, you know what, this thing right here, social media is affecting, and so you're gonna have just to let it go. Now, the people who watching this video, the people who have a past, everybody have a past. Everybody have skeletons in the closet. The people who made a bad decision, the people who somebody done something to, it's time to let it go. It's time to stop to dwelling in the past. It's time to say, you know what? I'm no longer going to be a slave to my past. I'm going to move forward. Even if I have to struggle, I have to crawl, I have to, whatever I have to do to move forward, I'm no longer going to dwell in my past. I'm no longer going to say, I'd rather be back in Egypt. It's time to stop dwelling your past. Thank you, and God bless.